to a brand new video. I hope everyone here is doing well. Today we're doing two NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Saturday, January 18th, NFL divisional round playoffs here. We get the two-game slate for this Saturday of NFL football. Hold on, let me just go to this real quickly. Saturday NFL slate, we got the Texans at the Chiefs, and then the Commanders at Detroit, which has an insane 55.5 point game total. I got two player props that I do like from this slate. Before I get started, take a look in the description below. Hop into the Discord. $9.30 per month. First time members, 20% off your first month using promo code TUFF with the link in the description below. Again, that's where I post all the plays I'm making. Full, complete write-ups on individual plays in the Discord. Some other cappers in there as well. Overall, super positive community. Like I said, everyone in the Discord just trying to help each other cash. I also want to mention I'm not a gambling expert, you guys. This is not financial advice at all. This is simply just the plays I'm personally looking at making. So hopefully this video gives you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But yeah, let's get into it. NFL playoffs Saturday. We got 8 teams left. Two good games. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Again, both these plays are going to be in the same category, but the first one's going to be Dalton Schultz. I like his over 5.5 reception targets. 5.5 reception targets for Dalton Schultz. Sorry. We look at this Houston offense, and Joe Mixon's questionable. I'm sure all these guys that are questionable are going to end up playing, right? Solid chance to face the Chiefs, but he's looking like he's going to be a little banged up. Robert Woods is questionable as well after another DNP, which I think will just increase Dalton Schultz opportunities here. But obviously they don't have Tank Dell, they don't have Stephon Diggs. And Dalton Schultz historically has played well against the Chiefs. We look at even in Week 16, these teams faced off at Arrowhead. Same exact scenario, right? Cold, just cold climate, low scoring projected type of atmosphere and game here. And you can see here in that game, Dalton Schultz saw 8 targets. That was a game with Tank Dell seeing 7 targets, and that was again a game that CJ Stroud threw the ball 39 times. So, you see that type of volume for CJ Stroud in a game that my guess most likely the Houston Texans are going to be trailing in a game, like I said, with Dalton Schultz saw 8 targets already. We just need 6 in this one, and then again we're taking away 7 total targets from Tank Dell, and this one and possibly 6 from Robert Woods, giving us just a ton of upside there. And then we look over on Outlier. Again, there's a link in the description below of this video. You can get a 7-day free trial with Outlier. It is a research betting tool, elite research betting tool that I do use every single day. But you can see here over 3.5 receptions for Dalton Schultz is, juiced pretty heavily on the over. I think he's at 4 on PrizePicks, minus 165 on DraftKings, minus 210 on Caesars down here. In a trailing game script, obviously, but 3.5 receptions for Dalton Schultz this season. When he catches at least 4 catches, he's over this reception targets line in every single game. 6, 6, 8, 7, 7, and 8 targets. When he catches 4 passes, he is juiced over on 3.5 receptions here. Again, as far as just tight end matchups go, Dalton Schultz has a decent matchup. Chiefs tied for close to the top 10 in total targets to the tight end position over the last 8 weeks. 53 total targets to the tight end position. We look at tight ends game log this season versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and again, decent hit rate as well as far as just 6+ targets. We've seen 8 different tight ends have 6+ targets versus the Chiefs, including Dalton Schultz here at 8. And even I think Dalton Schultz just in his career versus the Chiefs has fared well. I think he had a game versus the Chiefs when he was with the Cowboys. Game log versus Chiefs career. When he was with the Cowboys when he had 8 targets too, I believe. Yeah, he's had 8 targets in both games versus the Chiefs. So, played pretty well. But again, we're just looking at targets here. We're not looking at production. We're just looking at volume in a trailing game script with the injuries to the Texans' offensive weapons. I like this spot. I like this spot a lot here for him. Second play here is going to be Scary Terry. Again, reception targets at 8.5. I think this is a volume type of play in a game total that is absolutely electric. 55.5. Again, these game totals have been somewhat of a letdown as far as just like these games that are projected to be high scoring. But Washington being 9.5 point road underdogs in a 55 point game total on the road, indoors too. Indoors is key because these games that are played in Detroit just tend to be electric and just ton of offense. We know Detroit's going to score the ball a ton at home. But the wide receivers over the last 8 weeks, the Detroit Lions allowing the 5th most total targets to the wide receiver position, 151 total targets to the wide receiver position. We look at Scary Terry as well. A couple things that are very interesting. Over 4.5 catches, he is minus 225 on DraftKings, minus 240 on FanDuel, minus 280 on Caesars. All right, so heavily juiced for 5 catches. We look at Terry McLaurin this season. Essentially with 5 catches, I mean, the floor for this receptions targets line is going to be 6. But again, he's heavily juiced for 5. Let's say his line is at 5.5. Let's say he gets 6, 7, 8, 8, 10, 10, 10, 12, and 8, right? But what's interesting for me here is just over the last couple weeks, and especially in these games that are must wins. Like we talked about this game against Dallas, which I don't know, this may have been a must win or not. He had 12 targets against Dallas, 10 targets last week in the playoff game against Tampa Bay. But what's interesting here is that we look at games that were played indoors, which is key for me. I think we look at Terry McLaurin's splits when he plays indoors. 32 targets, 22 catches, 187 yards, 4 touchdowns, right? And this is, I don't think he played that many indoor games. Like, we look at opponents, right? We know Washington, the home games, not indoors, right? So Tampa Bay plays outdoors, Philly plays outdoors, Giants play outdoors. The Saints play indoors, 10 targets, okay? Dallas plays indoors, 12 targets. Arizona plays indoors, 10 targets. So in all 3 games that he's played indoors this season, he's had 10 targets. 10 plus targets, 10 plus. And we get a playoff game with an extremely high game total with the banged up Lions secondary. Like, we look at wide receivers game log this season. Let's just look at the wide receivers game log this season that had 5 catches, 5 plus receptions versus the Lions, which again, Terry McLaurin, minus 220 for 5 catches. Look at these targets. Cooper Kupp, 21. DJ Moore, 16. Calvin Ridley, 15. CeeDee Lamb, 14. Keenan Allen, 13. DK Metcalf, 12. Njigba, 12. Harrison, 11. Jawan Jennings, 10. Pearsall, 10. DJ Moore, 10. Like, we've seen 13 different wide receivers have 9 plus targets here. Now we get the wide receiver 1 in this offense in a playoff game. We're literally in a playoff game, must win. 9.5 point road underdogs. I like the spot a lot here for Terry Mack. So 2 player props for this video, you guys. Please drop a like on this video. Check out all the links in the description below. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, let's cash.